Now you're in a very privileged position to be one of the main messengers of this message of geoengineering. Your film came out in October. It's been seen by millions all over the world. What kind of maybe propaganda or slander have you seen directed towards you? And also, have you seen maybe an upscale in the propaganda of chemtrailing since your film has come out?
Well, we absolutely had. Well, we knew when starting the film, due to the monetary and political interests, that there would be resistance. Of course, after the film, we've seen an incredible amount of newscasters coming on and talking about contrails, or what we believe are aerosol trails, to just simply be natural, normal contrails. So that type of propaganda we've definitely seen a great increase with, and there has been, you know, some personal attacks. Certain radio stations have tried to discredit our science. We also have some websites that have attempted to debunk our science. It's pretty funny because there have been thousands of duplicate tests which reveal extremely high levels of aluminum, barium, and strontium. We used about 2 in the film. One was a test on Mount Shasta, which revealed 61,100 parts per billion. That sample was taken on an area of Mount Shasta which was called Ski Bowl. So some of these quote-unquote debunker sites, believed to be well-funded government sites, had claimed that the heavy amounts of aluminum on this area of Mount Shasta came from the bottom of skis. As ridiculous as that sounds, Ski Bowl is not even a ski area, it's just the name of the area on Mount Shasta. And again, they failed to even address the issue of barium and strontium and where that contamination has come from. Many people state that, well, the aerosols and this heavy amount of aluminum is coming from China. California Air Quality Resources Board did a study on aerosols from China, found aluminum, barium, strontium to not be amongst those metals because they are believed to fall to the ground before they migrate from China. So again, there have been numerous attacks. I could go on and on and on, but they've all been ineffective. They've twisted science, and it's just an attempt to cover up what is now coming to light. And as a result of the film, we've had millions of people wake up to this issue.
Let's talk about the actual hit pieces where actual radio shows would call you up and have you do an interview thinking that they're either on your side or at least trying to get your message out there. And what kind of tactics have you seen being used that they try to lure you in and try to maybe step all over what you're saying, I guess?
Yeah, well definitely, and Above Top Secret was one of them. I believe the gentleman's name was Neff, and I was told that we would be talking about the film. Of course, Neff didn't watch the film, nor was he aware of the issue of geoengineering, but he had what, you know, is typically the playbook to try and attempt to debunk this. So after about 3 minutes into the interview, it was very clear that it was an adversarial radio interview, so I addressed that immediately. I said, you know, are you aware of geoengineering? He stated no, and I said, well, by the nature of your questions, you're either 2 things. I said, you're either ignorant of what you're asking, or perhaps you're a paid agent. And I explained to him, I hope that the ignorant part is correct, so we can, you know, get to some real questions and some real solutions. Well, he kept on trying to hit me with the science, and I addressed, you know, the science in the appropriate way. And again, our science is solid. We have duplicate samples, thousands of tests that reveal massive amounts of aluminum, barium, and strontium. Geoengineers' plans match what we're finding in the rain and snow, but there are also numerous patents that were designed for spraying devices to be fit on airplanes for specifically spraying the substances that we're finding. So anyways, the way that it ended, they accused me of creating a public panic in stating that they asked the question stating, what would people say if they knew that you were just creating public panic and people were freaking out when airplanes fly above? And I said, well, you know, it's pretty obvious what your agenda is on this. And I said, I'm going to call you out. I said, I think the better question is, what would your listeners say if they found out that you were part of a cover-up that is not only hurting them, but each and every one of their children? And I said, I'm calling you out for who you are. They immediately hung up on me, and refused to let me back on the station, and they did not post that interview. Typically they have archives. So again, a number of people have attempted to debunk this, but they simply have not been able to. This is the elephant in the room. The science is there. We have credible scientists now, politicians talking about this issue. And again, those who have tried to debunk it have actually revealed to the listeners for who they are. I know Above Top Secret got hundreds, if not thousands, of phone calls and hundreds, if not thousands, of emails by people who are concerned. So this movement today has a huge backing, and it's because it is so serious. I mean, our children are being affected, our health is being compromised, but even our natural environment is being changed. And people, for the first time in my life, even after that interview, I have tremendous hope in my fellow human beings, because people are standing up to this. And it's great when people try and debunk this. We're finding out who the agents are. We're finding out that people who are working tirelessly trying to suppress this new information that's coming to light, but they've been very ineffective in doing so.
Now, part of the film was filmed in Maui, so people here in Hawaii would probably be interested to know what's going on in their neighbor island. One of the things that I noticed in the film is that you pointed out to the palm trees where they're coming apart in the bark area. They're coming apart and trees are dying. What other effects did you see in Maui that you would directly link to the geoengineering programs?
Well, What in the World Are They Spraying was instrumental in helping to wake people up in Hawaii, because it is very relevant in Hawaii. While many parts of the world we see these giant crisscrossing trails in the sky, here in Hawaii it's a little different. But clearly, since I've been on the Big Island here, I didn't see any aerosols today, but I did see them for 2 days in a row. Typically, Maui has been getting hit the hardest. We know what aerosols look like because I've studied them on time-lapse, and we also have studied them through satellite imagery. So the palm trees are very significant. Deborah Whitman of Environmental Voices has actually tested many of trees with bark that's falling off, and again, those reveal very high amounts of aluminum, and I believe barium and strontium were amongst those. But other things that have been happening, and is a real concern for me, as the organic farms have not been getting the yields that they once did. And aluminum oxide is very toxic to soil, and what it will do, it will increase the pH, but also many plants and trees have a mechanism which will actually shut down in the root system and not allow nutrients to come up when these toxins are put, into their system. So as a result, there is a die-off, there is a decline on things that are natural and organic, and there's a great concern, as we spoke about the GMO aluminum-resistant seeds, that this could be an agenda to literally take control of the entire food supply by toxifying soil, so that nothing will be able to grow without this corporate control. And the concern for me, I know a lot of people come to Hawaii to live independently, and there are a lot of people living off-grid, and that's a beautiful lifestyle, and I respect it so much because there's freedom within that. My concern is this: if we won't be able to grow our natural food, what are the requirements for purchasing GMO seeds from companies and corporations? And that truly, Mike, that truly is the end of freedom as we know it. And as we stated, Henry Kissinger said, if you want to, again, control countries, control the oil, but if you want to control the people, control the food. And this is what this is in part. It's in part food control.
The age-old thing of looking up in the sky and wondering why. Now we're criminals in this new age. 1984, Brave New World. We are living in it today. Let's talk about the congressional testimonies around these issues that have helped to get the more in-the-box type people to actually pay attention.
Right. Well, it's interesting because the corporate mainstream media has been very effective in getting people who question geoengineering programs as being labeled as quote-unquote kooks. We took an issue which was considered conspiracy theory, and we brought it into conspiracy fact. Geoengineering is a science recognized not only by many funders and foundations, but also by our Congress. There have been numerous congressional hearings on this issue. We confronted the the chair of the Science and Tech Committee, Bart Gordon. He was actually hosted